afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Apologize for the delay, but we thank you again for coming today. For today's briefing, we have with us, of course, Lieutenant Governor of Guam, Ray Tenorio, and to his left is Homeland Security Advisor, George Charfarous. So again, we'll start with some remarks, and then we'll open the floor up for questions.
Good afternoon. So, ladies and gentlemen, Guam has been receiving some information, as you have, through different media sources with respect to some of the rhetoric that seems to have calmed down, especially from the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. We're happy that he has taken a look at their plans, as he said, and will be holding off on, at least it appears, to the imminent threat to Guam at this point. There doesn't appear to be any indication that, based on what we're hearing, that there will be any missiles attacking in the near future or in the distant future. There is no change in our threat assessment. We are operating as usual. As a matter of fact, the governor is meeting with the Attorney General on a scheduled meeting. So he'd asked me to go ahead and conduct this press conference with you folks. Thank you very much. The tourist situation, the economy, our workplace are continuing as we have for the last couple of weeks since the rhetoric started to become what we all know about. And so at this point, our government is operating, our tourism is continuing to grow. There have been no major changes in our forecast. We're in communication with Homeland Security. Our Homeland Security Advisor, George Charfarous, is here. We'll speak. And we're also in communication with the Joint Region Marianas, Admiral Chatfield, and any other people that we need to make sure that the people of Guam had the same assurances that we had yesterday, that we had the day before that things remain calm, status quo. We are protected. We have confidence in the credibility of the military officers and personnel that work within our armed forces. We trust that our country, including our president and his assertion to protect our island, are going to be held to his word, as we all hold each other to our word. And at this point, I'd like to go ahead and hand it over to our Homeland Security Advisor, George.
Good afternoon. There is no change in the threat level. I've been communicating with Department of Homeland Security and the local military, Admiral Chatfield. I spoke to her about 45 minutes ago. There's no change. We are very, say, almost ecstatic that Kim Jong-un has backed out. Secretary of State Tillerson and Secretary of Defense Mattis released a press conference today. A press release today, this morning, and I echo the same sentiments.
Okay. Questions? Sorry. Can you? I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Can you state your name and what agency you represent?
Yes, Gavina Garai with Reuters News Agency. Lieutenant Governor, have you seen the photographs of Kim Jong-un, which purport to show him sort of pointing the direction and trajectory of this potential missile launch? What reaction do you have to these photographs? Is a lot of hot air?
As I said, we hold everybody accountable, like you talked about with Secretary Mattis, and our President Trump has indicated that we're going to hold the North Korean government responsible for any overtures toward Guam or any territories. We protect our allies, protect our citizens and our residents of our country. Insofar as gestures or photographs, they tell 1,000 words, right? So we'll leave it to Kim Jong-un to explain any actions that he takes, but we're happy that the rhetoric is starting to calm down, perhaps, from Kim Jong-un, and not at least pursuing at the moment his threats to fire missiles at Guam. Nobody wants any confrontation beyond the peace that we enjoy today on this resort destination. So we want to continue to see our tourism grow. We want to continue to see the peace and stability of our region, and we stand behind our president and our country and our secretaries of defense and state with respect to holding the Pyongyang government accountable for whatever they do.
Sean.
As U.S. Charles Reader with Civil Daily News, is the military still keeping its defense like standards available here on the island, or like maintaining their defense capabilities here?
Yes, nothing will change on the military. We don't. I don't think the military ever relaxes when it comes to being prepared. There are exercises next week that they'll be doing with South Korea, which is an annual event. This is par for the course in our allies with South Korea and, of course, Australia. The THAAD missile system that's here and all the different systems in place, including Aegis and the Patriot missiles and the monitoring from Japan and South Korea, we don't envision that changing. I think one thing I know of, my son is in Camp Humphrey in South Korea with his wife and my youngest grandchild, and he's right there on the border of North Korea. So, you know, we all have family and friends that rely on the missile defenses, not just here in Guam, but in South Korea, and we recognize that we have confidence in their credibility to defend.
NBC News. Your take on that?
I think we look for any indication that that missiles that he threatened to shoot within 30 to 40 kilometers of Guam are not going to be from residents of Guam and any U.S. citizen for that matter, that he's not going to fulfill. Is one thing, but if we have any belief, I think as our country and our island does, that there's going to be any threat to do to make sure that we have a sense of security and peace, and we're going to keep that.
I guess my question is, your interpretation.
Much said it like they see it, and I do as well, that we're going to hold them accountable. And nobody wants to be threatened. Guam, the residents and our tourists don't want to be threatened, and we have a confidence in our military to the that Kim Jong-un is saying something that is giving
Climate Gel PNC, what is your take on some reports that satellite imagery has shown mobilization of mobile launchers of missiles?
The ruse, celebrate Liberation Day in Guam. The Koreans North Korea tends to use symbolism as part of their decision making, and I believe that's
So you believe it's just a show of force?
yeah, yes it is. That's my take on that.
By the security alert did not go up.
yeah. There's been no change in our posture, our level of.
I'm asking about the tourism numbers. You say that you don't see a change. The change in numbers regarding tourism, you can only see it a few months afterwards. Are you concerned about it?
The economy is cause for concern, but I think the one thing that we've been dealing with the Tourists still come to Guam from our source markets, and they're going to continue to. Threats to health. Those things are probably a bigger impact to tourism. Like Israel, you know, you've got attractions, and there are these things that.
I know you guys have been talking a lot about preparation and how on Guam we're always that work, because I went out and I met with some people who live in Whittington structures, and they
the condition of readiness for typhoons is go on a ballistic missile threat from 4 straight to 1. Enough information that we go to 2, we would open up those shelters.
Mm.
And not just that, Sabrina. I mean, if you recall, you know, just run into the nearest location that is, because when you have you know, when condition of readiness 2 is called, you know, we've already opened the shelters, people are there, and all of that. Be all clear to move. Sir.
Martin said.